other kill streaks are there?
What other little team bonus things? Not a massive amount. There's the radar, there's radar jammer, there's suit disruptor that you can drop in, there's the Ceph gunship, there's maximum suit, and there is one other which I forget right now. Well, the thing is, frankly, since this demo, the lethality of the Ceph gunship was toned down a bit because the Xbox demo, I think it was felt it was just a little bit too powerful. I think the real issue is on the crash site game mode, where a lot of the sites are outside, so you can kind of win. You can have a very big bonus by waiting to deploy it until the opponents are going for a crash site that's out in the open, and essentially they can't all cluster there and defend it because they'll just get nailed.
Are there any significant weapons that were taken out of the game for any reason?
Yeah, there is a weapon that isn't single player and that isn't in multiplayer, because, in fact no, there's two, because the single player guy said, hey, look, we've got this shiny bit of kit, it's awesome, and demonstrated it, and we're like, no, that's not going to work, because that's just far too powerful. There's an automatic grenade launcher, fully auto, like bang 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 with high explosive grenades. We're just, here's a video of the new weapon we've got. When we get to try this out in multiplayer, you don't get to try that out in multiplayer. That's no good. Nowhere near us.
Back storyline to a game at all, or no?
There are definitely links between the first game and the second, but it doesn't like follow right on.
I'm stuck.
There's definitely, there's stuff that connects it, but it's not like watching episode 24, where if you haven't seen the previous one, you're doomed. Yeah, I think there's a bug in, again, this is old code now, so it's been patched up, but it's based on the old 360 demo, whereas like the PC version is based on code that was a lot closer to submission.
Oh, what the?
So you find there's a couple ones. I think you can get in a situation where you can't place it properly, the orbital strike, and there's another issue where you can end up it telling you you've got one and it isn't available for use. Yeah, I think it involves getting another team perk and possibly dying somewhere in there. So you end up with these. Essentially, there are so many different combinations and ways around things can happen. And what happens if you get it just before you die, midway through a host migration, and essentially coping with all the potential issues rapidly balloons as the game becomes more complex. So you do tend to find there are lots and lots and lots of little irritating bits like that, and I think it's one of the reasons you get patching on consoles now, essentially, is because games are so much more complicated than they used to be. Cool. So, on console, my 360.
Oh my god.
I generally play quite a bit of Rock Band with my wife, and quite randomly, actually, Need for Speed, because we're working with EA on Crysis 2. EA sent us a little gift at Christmas. A lot of the artists and work always end up buying a special edition of everything because they love all the little models. You can tell the programmers' desks at work because you go around and there's big books about programming languages and game engines and such, and piles of paper with random notes scored on them. And then all the artists, you've got all figurines and models from games.
Now, because as you said earlier, you're working with EA, do you get to
Downstairs.
Do you get to see anything like special for like the general public, or no?
No, we don't get to see anything like from other EA games at all. It's quite segregated because essentially the way things work in the games industry, games can get dropped from one publisher and picked up by another and the like, and anyone that's
Like
making
Halo.
a game, they don't necessarily want their anything that they're working on made known to the people they're potentially competing with. So there's quite a high degree of maybe secrecy is too strong a word, but
A couple other games too. This is the same people who make Far Cry, correct? Or
so Crytek made Far Cry on PC. Then like Far Cry, like there were a number of console sort of spin-off thingies that Ubisoft did. So they bought the engine off Crytek and then made Far Cry 2 with it. And I think there's Far Cry Instincts and a couple other bits with random names like that.
Radar uplink established.
It's been interesting. I mean, because Free Radical worked on lots of console stuff, and that's where I was before. And Crytek had only released PC stuff before. So yeah, it's been an interesting couple of years, kind of getting people used to thinking about how the consoles work and different limitations. Like you can't ever put up the required system spec on a console. You can't go, well, they're going to need a bit of a faster processor. It's like, no, you have this much memory, you have this much graphics card speed and this much CPU speed, and that's it. To an extent, I mean that's really the sort of thing we're aiming for. Is that there's lots of people who haven't been able to play Crysis because their machine wasn't good enough, or they didn't have any sort of gaming machine and they just play on consoles, and hopefully it'll be a chance for those people to have a go at it. A quick little hint for you guys that you might not have gotten in this, because it's a bit of a power user thing, but it is really quite funny. You can actually use the orbital strike to shoot down the alien gunship. That's actually not one I've tried, to be honest, but you can shoot down the enemy gunship when with your orb strike.
Between the two consoles? PC and Xbox?
So differences visually between between the 360 and the PS3. I think there's definitely some tonal differences, so I think it's fairly well accepted that there's just something about the kind of graphics pipeline on the PS3 and on the 360 where they're just subtly different in a few ways, and 360 might look a bit sort of colder, a bit bluer, and the PS3 looks a bit sort of warmer visually. But I mean, essentially, the two consoles are really pretty similar power-wise. So you'll get tiny changes. I don't think there's any massive setting that's turned on 360 or one that's turned on PS3.
Oh my God.
And the other console doesn't have it. Yeah, I've got two high-spec gaming PCs because my wife plays games as well. So our lounge is set up with a 42-inch TV with 360 and then two gaming PCs side by side. The community is quite game dependent on PC. You get some games, some like RTS games like Heroes of New Earth, where it's really, really complex and in-depth and the community isn't very welcoming of new players. And then you get others where it's fine. It's a real mixed bag. Battlefield is one of the series I really love. Play that a lot on PC.